Hello, everyone. I'm coming at you live today, which I always love coming at people live because it's hilarious. I never know what I'm going to say, so hopefully this will be good and I'll come across coherently. Um, so every week, as you know, on my like page, what I like to do is to have a different theme of the day. And so I'll have Monday morning challenges. I'll have Tuesday nutrition nuggets. I've been doing my one hit wonder workouts on Wednesday. And then Thursdays are normally thoughtful Thursdays. So it's something that I try to and basically what I do on the Thursdays is I try to think about what lesson am I needing to listen to today for myself. What is it that I need to hear? What is it that I'm struggling with? What is it that I need to work on? And then I put that out there into the universe of Facebook because I figure if I'm needing to hear that lesson, it's usually a guarantee that someone else needs to hear that too, because I figure I'm not the only one. Well, yesterday I tried really hard to get my Thoughtful Thursday post up, and I was actually going to do this live video then. However, life was just not what it was supposed to be yesterday. I think I just had a really rough day emotionally, and that's really ironic because that's kind of what I was going to be talking about yesterday, that it didn't even work, and then I had a horrible day that it didn't work. So for those of you who don't know, I actually just had brain surgery a month ago. I was released from the hospital a month ago yesterday. It was kind of my 1 month of being out of the hospital. And I wanted to share with you the 3 lessons that I have learned in that last month of being home and trying to recuperate and trying to figure out how to make my way in this world, being very different than what I was before I went in for brain surgery. So, to be totally raw and honest with you, I have had a lot of really rough days. A lot of times that it's just a really struggle for me. When I have energy, I have tons of energy and I feel really good. And then all of a sudden, really quickly, that disappears. And I knew that was going to happen, and I knew I was warned about that. But I am a person who has always thrived and strived on being busy and being able to accomplish a lot of different things. And in my world, when the doctor told me 4 to 6 weeks for recovery, I was like, oh, I am going to be 100% by the time the month is up. First of all, I work out of college, and I start teaching next week, and I have to be on, and that's just the way it's going to work. And luckily, I made the very difficult decision of only going back part-time at one college, which I'm really thankful for, because there's no way that I could have pulled off more than that. I am struggling on days. It's really rough for me, and I have huge physical ups and downs, and I have huger, if that's even a word, because I know it's not, emotional ups and downs. And I'm really struggling with that. But here's what I've learned. So I have been feeling really down about myself. I have been feeling like I am less than what I want to be. I am less than what other people need from me. I know that everyone around me, my family, is so incredibly supportive, and they are telling me how I don't need to rush my recovery, and I appreciate that, and I know that I don't, and I know that I need to rest for my recuperation. But in my mind, I was going to be 100% by yesterday. And so it's really hard for me when I'm not 100% after that time period. And so I was looking back and just feeling really cruddy about myself. Physically, I was having a really hard day yesterday. Emotionally, it was really hard. And I was thinking back about what it was like when I first came home from the hospital. And a month ago, yesterday, I took my first walk, my first real walk getting outside. My husband and I walked around the block. It took 30 minutes to go a half of a mile. And I was so proud of that half of a mile that I could walk. With his support, I definitely was holding his hand or his arm the entire time. But it did. It took me 30 minutes to walk that, but I was so proud that I could go out and do that. On Wednesday this week, so just 2 days ago, I went out and I walked by myself for 6 miles in 2 hours. So I have increased my distance that I can walk, and I have increased my speed that I can walk. But what I kept focusing on is that the speed is still my limitation. I can go really long distances now and do really well on my walking. but I can't pick up my speed. I'm still only at about 75% of my normal walking speed, and and that's just like my normal walking speed, not when I'm actually trying to walk for exercise. And so I was feeling really down about myself, but then I went back and I looked at those statistics and I looked at my record of my fitness tracker, and I saw that huge change in 1 month of going from 30 minutes to walk a half a mile to walking 6 miles in 2 hours. Now, normally it does not take me 2 hours to walk that. When I was walking that previously to my surgery, it actually took me under an hour and a half. And so I could focus on that aspect and be depressed. Which is what I started to do yesterday. And then I realized, no, you know what? That is huge progress. And so a couple other things that have happened. Trivia. I like to go to trivia with my husband and my sister and some of my friends on Thursday nights. And I went, I think I went 2 weeks after recovery. So I think it was 2 weeks ago, and it was so overwhelming and overstimulating to me. And I ended up leaving with a huge headache, completely wiped out, had a horrible day the next day. I actually went to trivia last night, and although it was hard for me to focus, I have a hard time with a lot of sounds and voices coming from different directions still. It was a struggle for me. I still felt good at the end of the night, which I really appreciate, which is a huge improvement. The other thing that I've noticed huge improvement on is right after surgery, my softball team, which no, I'm not playing on because I can't play softball yet, but my fall league softball team, I went to go and watch them play, and it was a really rough night when I did that right after surgery. But I actually went to a softball game this week, and I was able to keep score. I could track it. I could focus on it. I could follow the game. I could actually translate that down into the scorebook, which there's no possible way I could have done a month ago when I went the first time. I could barely focus on the game. I couldn't even watch the ball being hit because it would be so distracting. I had to watch where I was putting my eyes and not follow all of the action because I just couldn't focus on it. So those are huge, huge improvements that I didn't know that I was going, that when I look back over the long haul and kind of get a bird's eye view of things, that I've noticed these huge improvements. But in the daily grind, I have been horribly depressed at not being who I want to be, not being as productive as I want to be, not rehabilitating as fast as I want to. And I had been stuck in that depression, and I think I'm slowly trying to work my way out. So here are my 3 lessons that I've learned in looking at those changes over time. 1, change takes time, right? So I can't expect immediate results. Although I have been, and although in my brain I know I'm not supposed to, it doesn't mean that my emotions aren't telling me that I should be doing things faster. But when I really look back at it, things take time, which means every little step I take gets me further along in my healing process. So every little thing that I can do that just pushes me just that little tiny bit is getting me further and further towards my goal of feeling better and being rehabilitated fully. And it's okay that it's small steps. Small steps are just huge when you stack them on top of each other, and it becomes incremental. So that was one lesson that I learned. The second lesson that I learned is to look at that bird's eye view. So when you are feeling overwhelmed and feeling like you're not making progress, so many of us have huge goals in our lives of wanting to get more fit, lose weight, build a better savings account, strengthen a relationship in our lives. And we get down and depressed when we feel like we're not making progress, and it makes us want to quit and give up. But if you take that bird's eye view of everything and realize how far we've come since we started out on those goals, it can be a lot more rewarding than when you just focus on the day-to-day changes that happen, which you might not be able to see at all. When you go and look at yourself in the mirror and you don't see any difference between today and yesterday, that can be very depressing. But if you take a look at your picture of yourself a month ago and you've been making strides to try to become more healthy, become more active, eat healthier, and all of a sudden you can see those changes, but it takes that bird's eye view to be able to recognize them. So that's my second lesson, is don't just focus on changes from day to day. Take a look at the long haul and take that bird's eye view. My third lesson that I've learned over the last month is that I cannot expect perfection. And I know that I tell my clients clients this all the time, that it's all about progress. It's all about progress. But sometimes it's a lot easier to talk and say that advice than it is to listen to it. And I think that that's helping me to understand things a little bit better from my client's perspective. In that I need to be completely fine with just progressing, and that I don't have to be perfect right now, and that's okay if I'm not perfect. And if I wipe myself out and I am extremely tired, it's okay if I want to lay down and take a nap, because I don't have to be perfect right now. I just need to be taking care of myself and getting better to the best of my ability. So those are my 3 lessons that I learned over the last month after having brain surgery. I hope you enjoyed them. I'm sorry that my Thursday post is coming out on Friday, but you know what? I don't have to be perfect. It's small daily steps. So today is going to be a thoughtful Friday, and I hope you guys all enjoy your day.